Oh, hi! Today I'm going to talk about Cricut machines. This is one of two that are in my shop right now. This is absolutely not sponsored. Not that I mind them sponsoring me, because all their shit's really expensive. It's probably not going to happen because not everything I'm going to say is going to be very nice. To start, here's some backstory on why I am only just now fucking around with a Cricut Expression 2. And for those of you that don't know, these are machines that do die cutting and stuff. My very first job was completely under the table and probably not legal since I was only 13. The only thing that was my responsibility was to take the sheets of vinyl that had been cut and everything and weed out all of the negative space. It was often Calvin peeing on the logo of some vehicle brand, which was actually kind of troublesome because Calvin didn't seem to have any brand loyalty. I can't think of a logo he didn't pee on that I had to weed out. But also, wasn't Bill Watterson very against licensing and all of that stuff, like any other productions of the image? So I wonder what the legal issues with that were. But that was a lifetime ago. Anyway, what I'm saying is I had experience in this field. And my mom used to work at a craft store for ages, and she got a crazy deal on this particular machine. I can't blame her for jumping at that opportunity because it is usually like over $300 for a new one, which is certainly prohibitively expensive for most things. The new one I just got, this bad Larry over here, the Cricut Explorer 1, it was listed for $180 at the store, but online it was $130. Not that I want to give Walmart my money anyway, but I will certainly give them $50 less of my money. The backstory as to why I have two, and this one is in the box on my lap, not being used. I'm unsure as to what year this version came out, but apparently it's one of their legacy models now, which means, hey, we don't want to support these older models anymore and will no longer let owners of them access the technology that is half the reason people get them, so that they're forced to get newer versions. Sips wine. My mom had used this machine once or twice and she was wondering what to give me for Christmas. I got these ideas going in my head because she had said when these came out, and I did a ton of research on it ahead of time, but apparently not enough. These are able to hook up to the computer and you can design your own stuff. Use stock images off the internet, create your own things, take a picture of a drawing you did and turn that into something you can die cut. And it comes with a USB cable that hooked right up to the computer. And I have my laptop here and it immediately started downloading this program, which seems super fucking cool and super user-friendly. It's called Cricut Design Space. I've really been enjoying working on images in there. The issue is you can't use the older machines with the new program. You may be wondering, shouldn't there be an older program that you have access to? No, there was an older program that you could use these machines with, but when they started putting all their effort into the new technology, they completely shut the old one down. There was even a CD version of a Design Space, compact disc CD, but I guess also CD maybe a little bit. I don't love how they handled this. I do get it from a money-making aspect, but again, these are very expensive for most people. It's an investment, and when by no means of your own, it becomes unusable after a seemingly short amount of time. That sucks. Obviously, I understand older machines not getting all the updates, but there's no way to get this machine to talk to that computer. I was on chat with tech support. The person I spoke to was very helpful and very upfront about all of the reasonings for things. Here is the conversation I had with them. I was fuming, but it's also not that person's fault, so I tried to make sure I acknowledge that. I had spent a really big chunk of one of my days using the USB cable, getting this program to download, which again, like, this has been fine. The program itself is great so far. I haven't done a ton with it. I will do a couple test runs in a little bit just to see how easy it is to actually make something from scratch, because all I've done is downloaded images off the internet, printed out amazing on the vinyl, and I already owned the weeding tools from my old job. A+ to me for craft supply hoarding, especially since Cricut tools are so much money. It's so much money. They have a roller that you use to apply things on the mat. I will show you what I came up with, because there's no need to spend $50 on what is essentially a rolling pin. Obviously the brand name for any item ever is going to cost more than some kind of generic, but especially with the weeding tools, look up dental cleaning things, and that's basically what a lot of those tools are. This is a very specific cross section where I have experience weeding out vinyl for a living and also making teeth for a living. Get the little like scrapey tools. Don't worry about the mirror or anything, but you can get that shit at the dollar store. It's gonna get the job done and you don't have to dump a ton of money into it. So you say the USB cable isn't working. What about a Wi-Fi adapter? That's not even an option for this anymore. There's a port for it. They used to sell it. Even if I got one, it would not get me into the program. I thought that was all the issue was that you couldn't get to it with the hard wiring. You had to do it with the Bluetooth adapter. But if you are someone that is going to be using these machines, oh, that was my elbow. Oh, Christ. For their original intended purpose, which is mostly scrapbooking, which I didn't even know. I have just had many other ideas as far as what you could use for a Cricut. Scrapbooking never crossed my mind. This one at least has a bunch of presets. These are some of the presets I tried out. A little coffee mug, and you can add the heart or not. There are options as far as like having a whole blackout design, or you can layer things. Basic shapes too, and you can do lettering. That's what my mom used it for when she had it. And they do sell cartridges with themed preset images that you can cut out and everything. In more fonts, all those types of things. I don't know how much those are because pretty much everything I want to do is going to be custom work done by me in the program. I think any of the hard cartridges work on any of the machines across all current and legacy machines. As far as how they actually work, so far, I think it does a great job. The only thing that'll take some dialing in is if you're doing non-standard materials. Like I'm going to be doing a lot of fabric cutting with this. And because there's such a variety of fabric you can use and thicknesses and stretch and all that stuff, it's going to take some tweaking with that, but I'm just going to have to like make my own lists. It does seem like you need to bond any fabric you use with some kind of interfacing like Wonder Under or whatever. It's going to make everything so much more expensive. I'm going to do some more testing with that. A lot of things using this machine that's not just run-of-the-mill is going to get kind of costly. Each machine comes with a cutting mat. Supposedly you need different types of mats for different types of materials, so I did get some fabric grip ones, but I've watched videos of people literally taping their material to the mat so it doesn't move, so I don't know how legitimate the need for that actually is, but we'll see. Again, I'm pretty new to this. As far as when I'm actually cutting stuff out, it is cool because you can stop and start. Like say you forget to set the right needle pressure, or sorry, blade pressure. I'm used to sewing and it's digging way into your mat. You can pause it and adjust the settings in the middle of the project and then it'll go back to where it was. You don't have to call it a total loss on your material, which I think is very helpful. They have a ton of really easy to follow videos online for cutting different things and making sure you have your images mirrored if you're doing vinyl. One thing that kind of annoyed me, but I also understand why they do it, is they give you a sample piece of vinyl, which is what these gray silvery stickers are out of. But I went rogue and didn't waste all the vinyl on like design that they had. Like I have no use for this, so I just stuck in a scrap of paper, but this was the kind of test run. So it kind of makes you click all the buttons, get your machine going, actually do a project start to finish, just to make sure you get the hang of things. I think that's really cool. But again, they do kind of like force you into making this particular thing. And yeah, I'm not gonna waste vinyl when I have fucking cardstock to use up. So if you find yourself in a similar situation where they're making you walk through a bunch of things and you don't want to be wasting more expensive material just for the tutorial aspect, toss in whatever you have laying around and just make sure you switch the setting. All in all, for the price I paid for the Explore, there's a ton of potential with this machine. I was just really, really frustrated with how they completely abandoned all of the older models unless you have the actual physical cartridges. For some people that's useful, but I will not be put in a tiny plastic box. Okay, it's a little aggressive. All right, enough blabbing about my thoughts on the company. Let's see what this baby can do. So when I got these logos, I just downloaded the image off the internet, deleted any of the negative space I wanted in the photo, and then moved it into the actual like layout for the cutting mat and everything. And that seemed to be pretty easy, but let's give it a whirl doing something completely from scratch. So I clicked on new. Ooh, shapes. Not a lot in the way of shapes, but they have what I need. I don't mind if the pieces are a little smaller than this. I just don't want them to stick out. I'm going to add some text because I want to do some numbers. Font options? Oh, excellent. You have to buy them? Are there free ones? Yeah, this is a little whimsical. I like this one. That seems all right. I just want to make sure these are different colors. All right, that seemed pretty easy. Okay, I have all my numbers. Okay, I think I got it. This is kind of a pain in the ass, but I also just got pumped about figuring it out. So, group both pieces, and that's how you kind of like have the layers over each other. Highlight just the 6, and delete it. Now, there's like a ghost 6. It's not going to show up on the camera, but you can see on the menu here, there's a number 6. Highlight it, delete it. Hopefully you can see this, but like the 11 is a solid white number. And once I do the slice step, there'll be like a ghost outline of a black number on top of the pentagon. But this 6 and this 5, you can kind of see the grid lines in the background, meaning it's just empty space behind it. And that's all I wanted. I hope this is making sense because I don't know how many of those other Cricut tutorials I can watch. I'm having a tough time. I just need to find maybe the right creator that's using them and making videos with it. Holy hell, it's intolerable. Just to go over the steps one more time, I put the numbers over the shapes. I grouped each set of shape and number. Then I highlighted slice on each of the groups. Then I deleted the white number and then the like ghost number so that I could actually see the background of the graph paper design through the middle of the shape. Cool, cool. Now, everything's on the mat, but this is set to a 12-12 square because that's how big the mat is. It's all like gummy, so it has this plastic sheet that goes over it. Of course, there's dog hair all over this, but all I have to do is, this is regular letter size paper, so 8.5 by 11 on material size. There's a little drop down menu, and then it will rearrange all of the pieces to make sure it fits. So I do need 2 different mats. This is gonna get sent to the Cricut in a minute. So let's shimmy over there and I'll show you how the thing actually does the thing. Here it is. I think I need to come up with a name. What's something that's good at cutting? Edward? I'm gonna call it Edward because Edward Scissorhands. That seems appropriate. He'd be great at doing these. This one just has a little open button. It's very dramatic and slow. Oh, and I mentioned you don't need to buy the very expensive roller. This is an old lint brush. It has a very tacky material on it, and I cleaned off all the fur and hair that I could, and all the little fuzzies that end up on your clothing, you know, the lint, which gives it its namesake. And I just covered it with tape so it didn't have a sticky surface anymore, but it is like a good flat rolling surface, so it'll get any air bubbles out of whatever my material is. It always starts in the top left corner, like any time you write in English. So I'm just gonna line everything up with this edge over here. Just gonna roll my trash roller on here. Am I just like a really cheap prick? I'd rather put myself out just a little bit to save that kind of money. Much like with the USB cable for this machine, some people were complaining that the wireless Bluetooth adapter is extra money. It's like $50 extra too. But the USB cable that comes with it hooks up to the computer. They were just annoyed to have wires in the way. But I'm gonna have my laptop right next to me anyway, because that's where I'm designing things. But this is also coming from someone who's recently unemployed, so like, who am I to judge? So yeah, as far as loading the machine, there's these little grippy bits here. Oh, I should probably turn it on. That'd be helpful. Let's let this do its thing first. This is kind of thick paper, so there's a little dial on this machine that has different settings. If need be, I'll just like run it through again. I'm still learning, like I said, the depths and pressure and all that stuff for all of these. And this flashing button here pulls it in for you. And everything's already on the computer. I just hit continue from the make it page and I think it's just gonna do its thing. Let's see what happens. I'm excited. This is what having a baby feels like? I very much doubt it. This isn't gonna throw up on me, I hope. It's very satisfying to watch this. One thing I do like about this machine also versus the other one, other than you're actually able to use the fucking programs that are meant to go with it, is it will blink to be like, hey, this is the button you need to press next. On the other one, it didn't really say that. There's a little edge that stuck too much, but I'll just clean that up with some scissors. So these are the weeding tools I've been using. Like I said, a dental scraper from my second to last job. And then these are the tools I used when weeding was my employment. So hey, guess what? It fucking did the thing. I realize it's because it's a brand new mat. It's extra sticky that the second batch of letters tore a little bit on the back. I am pretty pleased with how this went. This is like how projects go for me. I never look at the directions. I just kind of assume I'll figure it out. But then I'm also missing out on things' full potential sometimes when I do that. So it's quick in the short term, but then I may be inhibiting myself from other cool shit I could be making. So I am gonna be spending more time working on this. But yeah, I'm thankful to my mom for this machine because having the presets, I'll still find stuff to do with it. And if there's anything she ever wants me to make, like, obviously I'll throw it together. But I was just very disappointed with the company going about things the way they did, because obviously for me too, but for other people, not everyone just has $300 laying around. And yes, this one's inexpensive, but this is the oldest machine that has access to the Design Space program. It's kind of a risk because I don't know when this will become outdated, but getting the newer one, it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and it really sucks that they're just not filling their full potential and people are kind of getting their hand forced into spending more money with that company. But hey, maybe there are other things I'm not aware of. I'm just saying how things look from my perspective, and the couple of other people I've talked to that are like, those are some bonkers reasons to not let people use those machines to their full potential anymore. I feel like they have become unnecessarily obsolete. Creative people are buying these things, and it's kind of strangling that a bit, and that bothers me. I'm very lucky and fortunate that even with this job loss, I had set some money aside and money in for my Patreon that I could spare the $130 for this. Also, it's an investment because I'm going to be using it to make things potentially for my Etsy shop and for local businesses. There are plenty of reasons it was a smart idea to get this. I couldn't fit it into my budget to get one of the newer versions of this, and the different features to me didn't warrant the price difference. This has gone on long enough, and what a surprise. I'm very hungry now, so I'm going to go eat. Maybe take a nap. We'll see. It's been a very long day. It's technically a holiday. It's New Year's Day. We made it to 2019. Happy New Year. Thank you so much to everyone that helped get me through this. Even if you just threw a couple comments on some of my videos, it helped in a big way. I really appreciate hearing from all of you. Obviously, huge thank you to everyone from my Patreon. I'm going to start doing like a monthly check-in, not really like a favorites, because I don't really buy a lot of things, and I think those tend to lean in that direction, but some kind of monthly thing where I will get back to doing shoutouts. I had a real buck wild 2018 and that definitely fell off, but I am focusing so much more of my time and effort onto Patreon stuff. So if you're interested in shoutouts or me mailing you something or just tossing me a couple bucks every month, if you don't want to do it every month, I also have a Ko-fi, ko-fi.com page set up. So there are some options if you feel like supporting me. I made a joke about it, but I did recently lose my job. I'm obviously applying to places, but if I can get things off the ground here, doing videos and selling stuff on Etsy, I'll link to all that stuff in the description. That would kind of be the dream. So I'm going to bust my ass and get a ton of stuff out and just keep making as hard as I can. I dropped my own face.